Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum and welcome back to another video. I'm once again in Valheim, and as the title suggests, for this particular video I'm going to be showing you how to cheese every single boss in the game. Now the way I'm going to be doing this is I'm basically going to use what you have access to for that specific boss. I'm going to show you how to break them, how to fight them easier. Now for this very first boss, which would be the reindeer boss, once you have pretty much built up a base, you will have access to the hoe. Now this is quite important because the hoe does allow us to level the ground but also to raise it as well, and that is the feature that we'll use so that we can fight the boss at a safe advantage for us. Now it is a safe advantage and it does break the boss's AI a bit, so that does mean he may want to wander off a bit. So the boss is of course called Eikthyr, and of course for that we will need stone, and you can find stone throughout Valheim by just picking up stone off the ground. So once you have located the boss's summoning stone, what you want to do is you want to set down some piles of stone, set down a workbench. A workbench will allow you to use the hoe and raise the ground. And if you are in an area, or the summoning stone is in an area that has trees, I strongly suggest that you clear out the area. So we're going to raise the ground. Now in my test I did go a bit high, so I did go about 8 high. I strongly recommend that you probably stick to 5 or 6. It just makes life that much more easier. And then we're just going to expand the area. If you basically put your crosshair just below the edge of the border of the edge of where you built up, you will basically just use 5 stone to expand that area, so it does save up a lot of stone. Once you've created a decent enough space right there, as you can see, I'm going around with some of the stone that I still have left, and I'm basically trying to create a gap in the center. This will stop us from being knocked out when the boss, when Eikthyr uses his it's like a little bubble thing that he does, and it does knockback. So basically we're not getting knocked off this. Now that will hit you and it will do damage, but the damage is not a great deal. Now of course you will require a bit of stone for this. Stone is fairly easy to find, and that's why I suggested that you bring in your stone and then stockpile it around his summoning altar. This also allows you to more or less fight the boss multiple times if you want to do that. It does make life that much easier. Then we use the hoe just to level up the center, so that way we're not glitching out like this, like you saw before, where the ground is just shaking underneath us. So just did that a couple of times. As you can see, I have a tree stump and some stuff that I haven't cleared out. Also, in my case, the summoning location for Eikthyr isn't in an ideal spot. It was kind of surrounded by trees, which we don't want, but I was just too lazy to try and clear out all of the trees. The reason you want to do that is because you want to have Eikthyr in line of sight, so you know where he's gone, and obviously he will run into the tree. So what the boss's AI will do is, because it can't reach you, it doesn't know what to do, it will come towards you because it sees you, it wants to attack you, it realizes that it can't do that, and then it will run off. So it will be a fairly longish fight in terms of time, but it is a very safe method. You will not be able to destroy this. So if I'm unsure about the height, I will continue to raise the ground here and there and make use of the stone that I still have left over. So that should be good enough. Now this is fairly high, and if you have gone fairly high as I've done here, what you can do is use the remaining stone to build a sort of a ladder system. So I went half height on that one and then another one right there, and that's about it. That should allow me to quickly and easily get back up if I need to. Now do remember that Eikthyr will want to run away when the AI realizes that it can't get to you. So that is basically why we've done that. Now in order to summon Eikthyr, you have to kill some deer, get the head trophies, and then you put it in your hotbar, and then basically press the key associated with the location on your hotbar or action bar, and of course whilst you are in front of the summoning altar. And here we have Eikthyr. He sees this, but he doesn't know what to do with this, so I'm going to use my bow and arrows for this. And we'll just do that. So as you can see, he's not doing any damage to the structure itself. He doesn't know what to do, so he'll run away. When he does that, basically my suggestion is just wait for him to come back. Do not waste your arrows. You don't have a good bow, so the range is fairly limited. And I did forget how bad the drop is on this particular bow, but hey ho, with time we'll get him done. Now, sometimes Ichthir will run too far away, and what you'll have to do is you'll have to kind of chase after him, get his attention. Now, it's up to you, depending on how brave you feel. You can try and hit him with the bow, and of course, use whatever food you have access to, whether it's the raspberries combined with the mushrooms and the cooked meat. That'll do just fine. Now, I did make a bit of a silly mistake here and did not manage my stamina too well, but he didn't hit too hard, so that's fine. We still have enough to get high enough off the ground for us not to worry about Ichthir. Now he looks like he's about to do, yep, so this is the bubble attack that I was on about. That does do some damage, not a lot as you can see, and I'm only using the armor available at this specific level, so he's very nearly dead. Okay, I thought for a second there that he was gonna do the bubble thing, and down he goes. So, of course, this is not necessarily a ergonomic fight in the sense of taking him down quickly. This relies more on patience and just waiting them out, making sure that you're safe so that way you don't die. So if you want to do a deathless challenge, this is probably the way I would go about defeating Ichthir. So, not that difficult, takes a bit of thinking and a bit of time, and I'd probably set up my base fairly close to his summoning point, so that way you can gather the stone. You need about, I'd say, 4 stacks of 50. Alright, here we are with the second boss. This is the Elder, and this boss we're going to break so badly that poor old Branch Brain does not know what to do. So this is the altar right here. Now of course it's random where it spawns in your game, and I'm going to show you a method that will break the AI so badly that it's just going to make it a walk in the park. Now once you have defeated the first boss, which is Ichthir, you'll have access to a pick, which is the antler pick that you get from Ichthir, and then of course you will also have access to the Stag Breaker hammer, which is what we will be using for this. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to dig downwards, and we want to get under his summoning altar. That is the aim of the game. Doesn't matter if you go a bit too deep, you don't need to go too deep anyways, because as I said, we are going underneath his altar, and so this is how we're going to get to him. And it's up to you how big you want to go. You can even build your base under here should you choose to do so, as long as you have a place to kind of plant yourself and be able to get to him. Now remember, the Stag Breaker does do AoE damage, and so basically that is what we are going to do. And if you dig straight ahead, what happens is right here, as you can see, you come to this point where you can kind of see from below everything that is above. Good old Branch Brain will just freeze above you, not knowing what to do. He can see you, he can sense you, or the AI can sense you, but it cannot hit you because you are underneath an indestructible type of item. There's not enough space for him to summon anything, and you just start whacking him with the hammer. To get back out, you just basically dig downwards, because you will get stuck in the structure's hitbox, if that makes sense, and you can't go back in, so you will have to dig a bit more. So that is pretty much the main idea of how we're going to fight him. For this we will need the Ancient Seed, which you can get from the Grey Dwarf Brute, as well as the Grey Dwarf Nests or Spawners. It's up to you how you go about getting these. Once you have summoned the boss, and you summon them the exact same way as you did with Ichthir, you basically put the seeds in your inventory, then go up to the brazier in the center, interact with it by pressing the key associated with the slot where you put the ancient seeds, and then run underneath the altar. Now as you can see, he's right underneath, or I'm right underneath him. He doesn't know what to do. I could probably go a bit higher just so I can get good sight of him, but I'm just gonna do this. If I'm not hitting him, okay, I am hitting him. If I'm not hitting him, then that just means you want to dig forward a bit. Now he knows I'm here, he can see me. He doesn't really have much of anything to do with me. He can't do anything to me, and this just makes it a really easy fight. All you have to do is just take your time and start smashing the ground. Now, what's nice about this is you can, of course, sit down a crafting table that will allow you to repair your items. Whilst down here, he ain't going anywhere. He's broken beyond belief, and there's nothing the AI can do anymore from this point forward. So I'm just kind of showing you how badly broken this guy is right now. It's unbelievable. And it's so easy. It does not require a lot of energy, a lot of resources. From this point forward, you don't really care too much about food and health and all of that. You can use the cheapest type of food that you have access to, as long as it gives you some stamina. And with a bit of patience, you will basically take down the Elder. Now, of course, using the hammer does use a great deal of stamina, as you can see. I've not even bothered to eat anything. I'm just taking my time, being conservative on resources, and down he goes. Simple as simple can be. And it's time to collect our rewards and move on to the next boss. Again, as you can see, I'm stuck. So if I'm stuck, well, I am stuck because I am in the structure itself for the altar. So just get out my pickaxe and dig downwards, and there we go. And as you can see, there's plenty of space to put down a repair bench. Oh, he's got a few friends. I'll deal with these guys in a bit. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there is another way where you can dig a trench-like structure, which I showed in my previous video. That does make it a bit more complicated. I find this a lot more easier. But if you want to go with the trench method, feel free to do so. And the next boss is, of course, Bone Mass. Good old Bone Mass, who once upon a time was a difficult boss, but is now easy. And I'm going to show you two methods for cheesing this guy. Yes, there are two methods. Now, this is one of my previous methods. It basically involves building a platform, I'd say about 10 pillars tall or 10 pillars high off the ground. Bone Mass can't do anything. Now, in my case, I was a bit unfortunate with where his summoning altar was placed on this map. So I had to raise and level the ground. You want a clear path to your structure, and basically the trees that you built in, the big trees basically are indestructible, and so you can build a bit of a kill platform. You can have some storage items there. It doesn't really need any roof. Yeah, heck, you can even go and turn it into a base and have your base right underneath Bone Mass. So I do have some holes there so I can shoot down if I need to. And the idea is we summon him, we run up these steps, run up these stairs right here, and then keep going up. At this point, I'd say Bone Mass will then be fully summoned, and should make life that much more easier. We then basically run to the end and start peppering him with arrows. Now, very important to note here, the best type of arrows to use on him are the frost arrows. So if you're going to do this method, it does mean you'll have to go into the mountain biome and basically kill the drakes for their freeze glands and get some obsidian. You don't need that many arrows. I think 150 should suffice. Now, of course, what you will see in this demonstration, keep in mind I will have a lower damage because I'm just going through bosses showing you how to cheese them. The other method involves, again, a tree, and as you can see right there, there's like a little crack right there where the roots go into the ground. So what we're going to do is we're going to dig a hole deep downwards. Now, we can't go too deep because, of course, the marshland is kind of level with the sea, so we want to be able to get just underneath the tree roots as we do here. Now, do bear in mind that this method might potentially be patched out. Now, because we have, say for example, a bench at the top that will allow me to use the hoe again to basically raise the ground and then push myself into the tree. Now, when I do this, what happens is I will not be able to be hit by any NPC, the boss included. The boss will see me and he will just stand here and do nothing. So, of course, we're going to use the best hammer that we have access to in the game. It doesn't matter if it is the Stag Breaker or whatever other hammer that you have. You can level it out. There's no point in going too high up. Once you are in the tree, it really just becomes ridiculously easy. Now you see that cross right there, that is basically the way that the tree roots split into 4 and basically connect into the ground. So you don't really want to move too close to the edge, you want to be right in the center of it, and when you use your hammer you won't shift. But if you do walk towards the end, so I'll show you that in a bit. So this is what will happen with the hammer. But if you walk towards the edge of the tree, you just walk out of the tree's hitbox. So I'll show you that as well. Once you are out, you can't go back in. The only way to go back in would be to dig another hole. So make sure that if you're going to use that method, that you have the hole already prepared, that you have your hole ready to go. So I'm going to show you the first method. I'm just going to get up these first steps as quick as possible. We want to get a decent height by the time the boss has finally spawned in. Once we are high enough, the boss is already sort of broken. It doesn't know what to do. The AI once again sees you, but it doesn't know how to get to you. So the boss is just doing his own thing down there. He's not even bothered with us, and so as such, even the environment has gone back to the normal swamp environment. So we're going to start hitting him with some normal arrows just to show you that it doesn't do a lot. So at this point you'll have access to the iron arrows. They don't do a lot, so there's no point in bothering with that. If you're going to do this, then you'll have to run into the snow biome to get your hands on the frost arrows. As you can see, massive difference in damage. It is easy to fight in Cheese. What he will do is he will run off, and then basically he will come back. So once he's far enough, just leave him alone. Give him time, he will come back. The other thing that you can do, for example, and this has just come to me because of where I am situated, as you can see, once the water gets deep enough, he doesn't go too far away. So maybe you can surround the fight area with a circular type of trench around his altar, so that will limit how far he can go, and you can pepper him with arrows until he's dead. So again, very easy. Now another thing that he may do is he may summon some skellies up here. It's kind of random. When it does happen, it's not that difficult to deal with. Just take out the skellies and Bob's your uncle. Now here we are with the second method right here. I've already had the trench prepared, the hole, the whatever you want to call it. So I'm just gonna back myself into it, get my hoe out, and then start covering up the hole in such a way that I can push myself through the tree. There we go. I think that is high enough. I am well concealed. The boss will come up to me. He'll just stop here and just more or less look at the tree. Now you can see he's partly through the tree, but he won't do anything because he doesn't know what to do. He hasn't the AI is basically well broken at this point, and he'll just stand here. Now, do keep in mind that there is a good possibility that this may end up being patched at some point. But basically, we're just breaking through the environment and kind of just getting inside an indestructible structure, and so this is what we're taking advantage of right here, right now. This requires little preparation. You don't even need a good amount of food or decent food to do this. You just need time, patience, a hammer, a pick, and a hoe, and obviously the elements to summon them, which would be the withered bones that you can find in the crypts and dungeons. And that is bone mass pretty much sorted. Not that difficult to deal with, and I've shown you two very easy methods. Getting the frost arrows isn't all that complicated, to be honest. All you need to do is get the frost resistance mead. And with that being said, then let's move on to the next boss. Here we are with the arena for modern. Now, of course, what I've done here is I've prepared the arena for a fight. So what I've done here is basically I have leveled up the ground to the edge of the circular arena where we summon Modder. Now, what we want to do here is basically, if Modder lands from the outside, we want her not to snag on to any part of the arena. So we want to try and level this off nice and neat, give us a good space. So if she lands a bit further away from the arena, we want her to be able to walk towards the arena and kind of just be on top of us. And we're going to use the same method as we did with the Elder, and it works just fine. However, there is a slight catch here, so I'll show you that when we get to that point. So for example, we don't want her to snag like I do right here. If I snag, it means that the boss may potentially snag. So this is what we're trying to avoid. So that's why we're raising the ground. It doesn't matter if the dirt goes slightly over the ring, makes not a difference. What we want is Mother to pretty much be able to freely walk onto the center, because we were going to be underneath that arena. Now do bear in mind that where you place the eggs, it is quite tall, so that means that we'll need to go a bit taller. When you do that, you will cover the holes where you place the eggs. I didn't know how to word it best, but yeah, these right here. So this is what we need to uncover. Now make sure that Mother can actually walk easily. If you can walk easily, she should be able to do so as well. Now, of course, if you want to be specific, you can try and clear out the area and make it nice and tidy, but this is what will happen if you if you try too much. So, do you know what? A bit of dirt on the circular arena does not really matter that much. So, I'm going to leave that right there. We don't want to cover up the bits where we put the eggs. So I'm going to go and get the eggs. We are going to summon Mother in a bit, but I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. So I'm going to choose a side. I'm going to dig downwards. I'm going to have to get my pickaxe out. So we're going to do this. We're going to go on down, keep on going down, and then we will go past this lip right here. So there is a bit of a lip sort of thing. I don't know what to call it. So keep going down. Yeah, there we go. That's the lip I was on about. I think we need to go one more deeper. That should be good enough. And now we dig straight. And you will see that there is like a pillar, or yeah, a pillar. Yeah, it's got a funny structure, this arena, and it does go quite deep. But don't worry, we can still glitch through it, and I'll show you exactly how to do it. Alright, so when you are ready, put the eggs onto the altar. You can find the eggs in the mountain biome fairly easily. They do glow, and they're fairly easy to spot from a distance. It do weigh quite a lot, so do keep that in mind. Once you are underneath here, make sure that the boss spawns and is able to see you. So this is quite important. And as you saw right there, I pushed myself underneath the arena by raising the ground in front of me, which in turn pushed me into the circle, the ring that is underneath the arena. Mother can see me but does not know what to do. Now I am slightly low here, and so what happens is the arrows are basically hitting the under part of the arena, so that means we still have to do some modifications. Now of course you can prepare this before the fight and put down a workbench, and you can actually dig this area out, so you can even have like a little fob type of deal. I wouldn't go too complicated, but it's up to you how you want to build this up. As you can see, she's trying to hit us but not doing a very good job. Of course, you can also use the hammer here. You can use whatever bow you have, and what really works well with Mother are the poison arrows. So if you're going to use the bow, make sure you use the poison arrows. So I'm just going to slightly make some adjustments here that will allow me to use both arrows and the hammer. With the hammer, I can only hit her whilst she is down. While she is in the air, of course, that is not good. And so Mother will go between two phases. One where she's on the ground trying to hit us, and then the other one where she's flying above us, just looking at us. So that's just time lost. I'm just going to use the pickaxe, dig straight forward. We're not trying to dig downwards. We're trying to slightly slope it upwards. So yeah, this is what Mother will do. She'll just basically fly and look at us. Always test with an arrow. If you can fire through the structure and hit her, then that means you are at the right height. You don't want to go too high because it will push you out of the arena. But apart from that, it is fairly easy. Now, I have played around with different ways of attacking and killing Mother, and what I found very effective were the bow and arrows, specifically the Draugr bow, which you can get from the swampland, and the poison arrows. They do seem to do a lot of damage to her. Of course, you can also use the hammer, and this just makes it easy. So to get back out is just a case of jumping, and once you are through the hitbox, or the hitbox of the structure, it will just push you out. Then collect your rewards, and that's pretty much it. Not that complicated, not a lot of preparation involved in terms of building. Of course, make sure that you level up the area around the arena just in case Mara decides to land on the outside of the ring, but though she will most often land on the inside of the ring because you are underneath it. The next boss that I'm going to show you how to cheese is the final boss. Now this will be Yoggoth. Now there is a important note here. Sometimes the AI breaks in different ways, so I'll show you what to do if it does not respond to our glitch, our cheese method the way we expect them to. So same thing as with Martyr, we're going to dig underneath the arena right here. Now this is kind of like a semi-sphere underneath his altar, so that is what you need to keep in mind. Don't go too deep, but you want to go deep enough in case Yoggoth decides to use his meteor attack, so you want to be protected by this. That's what's going to happen. Now of course, don't forget that the meteor attack does also do a decent splash damage and has quite a good radius, so you might want to go a bit underneath it, but not too much. When you are ready to summon, you will need, of course, 5 falling totems to summon Yoggoth, and you will place them in these little circles. You can find these in the falling camps, and then once you summon them, we just run here underneath, and then, as I said, remember, don't go too deep. This is deep enough, and we will just push ourselves through the arena by raising the ground. Now, of course, for that you will need to have a workbench placed down and some stone in your inventory. So let's summon him up. And I'm doing this in admin mode because this is a tutorial and a guide on how to, or what mechanics to use to basically break the boss's AI and make life easier for you. So very important here is you want Yoggoth to aggro onto you, so do not rush underneath the arena just yet, otherwise you'll just aimlessly wander about. So we'll just wait for him to kind of come closer to us, make sure that he is aggroed onto us and not just wandering about, otherwise we'll have to dig ourselves back out, then dig another hole in preparation for it, so we don't really want to mess this up. We know he's aggroed onto us when he starts doing attacks in our direction, and so that is exactly when you want to run underneath the arena. Now, for the purposes of illustration for this video, I'm going to show you what we're looking for, so I may get hit. So he's doing that right there. So that is his fire breath. He has a bubble attack that does AoE damage, similar to Ichthyr. So this time around, we didn't get hit by it. So let's pretend that Yoggoth isn't complying with what we want him to do. So what I've done is I've popped myself out of the arena. He's doing the attacks. Now do bear in mind that we're not deep enough, and as you can see, we are basically getting hit by the meteor shower. So you want to kind of run away from that, and then just basically dig yourself into the base of his summoning altar. Jump up, and then just wait for him to come to you. Now we should be in line of sight for him. We are right at the edge of where his arena is. So as he makes his way to us, we get our hammer out. He has pushed us a bit, but we're right at the edge. So I did put a marker there for myself. I have deliberately dug downwards slightly just to give myself that little lip there. So that's something you can do as well. And we just start hammering away. He's now broken beyond repair, and he sees us, he wants to hit us, but he can't really do anything. Very rarely will he move, and when he does, he'll just come back, he'll just reposition himself in a different position. And it's basically just a case of hammering through. Now you might want to set down here a repair bench because it might be a bit of a long fight depending on your skills with the hammers. Mine aren't that great. Once you've defeated him, just pop yourself through the arena, pick up your rewards, and there we have one Yoggoth down. Of course, alternately, If you want, you can use the wolf method. So that involves having, I'd say somewhere around 15 to 20 2-star wolves that you have bred. Have them follow you, summon the boss. Where the boss summons, run right onto that direction. Once he starts summoning in, before he's even fully materialized, the wolf will start attacking him and will take him down ridiculously quick. So very easy to do with that method as well. I've showed that in a previous method. The other method you can do is build a trench and use arrows on him, but of course he has resistance to arrows. So if you want to use the hammer, this is how you do it. This is the best way of breaking the boss. With that being said and done, that is pretty much it. I didn't want to add those clips into the video because it is already probably going to be long enough as is. I will try and reserve about 5 minutes for each boss, and I'm not going to go into the details of how to summon them. You should already know that. I will just briefly mention it. But with this boss, there are, if I think about it, 3 ways that you can do them. I've kind of showed off 2 ways in a previous video, and an easier way if you want to go all melee on him, and a way to do it safely. So the main point of these strategies that I showed were to make it easy and safe for you to defeat them, to the point where you can more or less face roll the keyboard and still come out on top. If you're going to use the trench method, then I suggest using the Draugr bow, which is the best bow, and I found the frost arrows to be fairly decent on him. Of course, he has a lot of immunities and he will take reduced damage, but if that is what you're skilled in, then probably go with that. Of course, if you're going to use the wolf method, you need to make sure that you have 2-star wolves, and I would recommend 15 to 20 of them, and they will take him down in a heartbeat. Of course, getting a 2-star wolf tamed can be a challenge, more around the fact that it will be a bit of a challenge to find one. If you have that 2-star wolf and you've already tamed it, then all you need is another wolf. Breed it with that 1-star or 2 or no star wolf until you get another 2-star wolf. Kill the low level wolf out and then breed a 2-star wolves, and then you'll end up with an army of wolves. I do have a guide on how to create a breeding factory, so it is here on the channel. Go and check that out if you're interested in that method. It literally takes the boss down in a couple of seconds without you having to do much of anything. And with that being said and done, that is pretty much it for this video, folks. I do hope that you have enjoyed it and found it useful and informative. If you have, please do not forget to support me and the channel by hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already for more similar content from myself. And if you have just subscribed, why not check out some of my other videos and guides here on this channel? Who knows, you might just enjoy them. And of course, for those interested, you can always find me on the Sethtopia Discord. Links to this, of course, you can find down below in the video's description. Until next time, stay safe, folks.